Donald Trump, um, he is playing, he's got to both try and spread the word that this whole call for ventilators is completely overblown. And also, he is worried. I don't know if that we actually played the specific video. It was one that was like the one with the calendar, which showed the progression of him denying that this is going to be an issue, downplaying it as an issue, ignoring it as an issue, and then starting to come around that maybe it's an issue, and then saying that this is really difficult. He is they made a video. They've been putting it out. They're advertising this, and he's suing to try and get the ad from going on air, which is absurd. It's literally just his words and the dates that he said them. So now he is trying to retroactively make it clear that people understand that he is not responsible for the failure of our government and himself to take this seriously. Clip number 3. Guys? Oh, there we go.
This was something that nobody has ever thought could happen to this country. I'm not even blaming. Look, we inherited a broken situation, but I don't totally blame the people that were before me and this administration. Nobody would have ever thought a thing like this could have happened. But the Production Act, Defense Production Act, is a wonderful thing, but I just haven't had to use it. They know it's activated. They know I can use it. Maybe that frightens them a little bit. It's got tremendous power, but I haven't had to. Please.
All right. I just want to be clear that they literally got rid of the head of pandemic response in this country, whose title I think was head of pandemic response or something to that effect, who sat on the National Security Council. They got rid of the person who monitors pandemics in China from the CDC. I think their title was something like Pandemic Monitor of China. The idea that people did not anticipate that a pandemic could happen is a lie. And the idea that his pandemic response was in shambles is a function of what he did. There's literally a pandemic handbook that they ignored that was put out by the head of pandemic response, that he got rid of that position. Now, unfortunately, I don't know, 70, 80, 100,000 people may hear me say that, but that's irrelevant. We need some national leaders to come up and say, just incidentally about that thing you said before, wrong. Right. And then they ultimately got rid of 2/3 of the CDC staff in China. What do you think they were doing there? They were looking at epidemics, aware of the fact that it could be a pandemic. I mean, that's a total lie. It's a total lie. And unfortunately, we don't have somebody who can step up to the microphone and say, I watched the conference today. And that's a lie. I mean, frankly, that's what Joe Biden should be doing. Roll tape. There's Donald Trump. Pause it. He can take it from me. I will give him a free license to take pause it. Pause it. Donald Trump is lying. Continue. I mean, that's it.
Well, I don't know if this is exactly what you're talking about, but Bernie Sanders did assign blame several times during his live stream the other day that he did with various public health officials, doctors, as well as Pramila Jayapal. It was really cute, actually. He kept saying, I don't mean to be political, but then he assigns blame to Donald Trump for policies that are killing people. And that is a good thing. That's the kind of leadership that we need.
Absolutely. I mean, and, I think that is the best argument for him to stay in the primary. It seems to me less about because I don't, I mean, obviously it's not impossible, but I think the odds are He himself said it's an extremely steep climb, and I would say yes, that's almost an understatement. But the value of him staying in the campaign is that very thing. And frankly, there should be more Democrats coming out and doing that. But really, the most obvious person to do it at that point, after Bernie, is Biden. And after Biden, it would be Schumer and Pelosi. And I just don't know that they're up to the task. Here is Donald Trump. And this, this is the best argument one could make for the failure of our health insurance system. It is that when we need it the most, it is going to be there the least. Will have, like I say, speculation on my part, but by this time next week, I mean, gosh, by this time next week, I think the reality will be that we will have, over 10 million jobless claims. Could be more by this time next week, because remember, on Wednesday, I think of it next week, we're going to hear about the jobless claims from this week. We heard this week the claims from last week. Last week it was 3 million. This is the week where we're going to see people who are, where we have all these more stay-at-home orders. Next week we're going to get more, and so the reporting will probably be, I think, close to 9 million, maybe 7 million, maybe 8, 9 million people out of work. But the reality will be actually there's a couple million more than that. And what kind of health care are they going to get? There's going to be, there's this like mishmash of different opportunities. Some like incredibly expensive COBRA coverage, prohibitively expensive. Some can go into the ACA, but it's just going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. And just imagine for a moment, what if all these people already had health care? What if the fact that they lost their jobs meant nothing in terms of their ability to access care? I mean, this is not rocket science. So obvious. And every other country that has dealt with this problem, they don't have to deal with that. Like multiple things are just taken right off the board. They start from day one with a foundation that actually is like, providing the bare essentials to people. And we don't have that. So we're basically like, this isn't just like, the top floor of the building has been knocked off. There's no foundation. There's no foundation. It's a mess.
I don't know, Sam. I heard that people like the healthcare that's tied to their jobs, and they like having it tied to their jobs. And any efforts to change it is balderdash.
I mean, at the very least, we now know that, when they go around and go like, you can't take 160 million people off of their private employer-based healthcare. Well, that number has shifted dramatically. We just, 10% less now, I think. Here is Donald Trump talking about how many people, listen to what Donald Trump says, and you tell me if you feel confident in what he's saying here. Oh, audio. Here's Donald Trump trying to explain, like somebody said, well, what are we going to do about healthcare?
Millions of Americans out of work. Some of them will be losing their insurance. What's your plan to make sure, through no fault of your own, as you just mentioned, that they stay insured? Are you willing to plus up the subsidies for some of the exchanges under Obamacare, expand Medicaid? What's being considered?
The things I just read to you are being considered, and other things are being considered. People are going to be getting big checks, and it's not their fault. What happened to them is not their fault. So we're doing a lot of different things on health insurance. We have meetings on it today. We're taking care of our people. This is not their fault, what happened, and we're taking care. We're starting off by sending them very big checks. I think for a family of four, it's about $3,000. And we're taking care of our people. We're taking care of our workers. This was not, as I say, this was not a financial crisis. This was a health crisis, a medical crisis. We're going to take care of our people. Please. Yeah.
Okay. You got a check for $3,000. Are you a family of four, right? You've lost your job. Rent is coming due. How much is your health insurance going to cost? 3,000, at this point. Like, I don't know, for family 4, maybe $1,600 a month. If it's Cobra, it's probably more. I mean, that is not sufficient. I'm sorry, that is not sufficient. And to the extent that it is, it's going to buy you 1 month. You're going to get 1 month. I mean, this is just, it's insanity. It's insanity that we have to address. How do you get health care in the middle of a pandemic? It's sheer insanity. And it's going to be completely ignored, right? I mean, like that, it's going to be completely ignored.
If you like your plan, you can't necessarily keep it.
There you go. Exactly. Can't necessarily keep it.